Hey everyone, this is what's on my mind. I had a little bit of a revelation last week and I'd like to share it with you. Throughout my career, I've had many conversations about coaching music, and I always end up saying, you can do it. It's easy to get good at music. And it surprises me that sometimes that statement upsets people. And I can tell because of what they say back to me. And they'll say, like, well, that's easy for you to say because you're good at music. Well, this has always been perplexing because I really can't understand like how this is helpful. Like, what's the benefit in believing that something is difficult? Is it like a protection from failure thing? And I really don't know because I've always believed it's just a better strategy to believe that it's easy. So the question for me is always like, do you want to get good at it or not? Because if you do, we should probably get started, and we can do it. And then there's the other part of the statement, when they say it's easy for you because you're good at music. Well, yeah, I'm going to have to say that's true. I mean, I've been coaching musicians for far more than 10,000 hours. So why on earth would I tell you something untrue about what I do? I have no motivation to do that. And that's when I got the hunch. It's like, oh, we're not looking at this the same at all. Like, we need to get some perspective. We need to frame this different. Like maybe a whole new question. That's when I got it. Here's the new question. How do you get good at something? Not music, anything. You name it, and then you can get good at it. It's easy. I'll prove it. You already know this. So here's how you do it. So what's the goal? You have to name it. What skills are required? Well, we might have to do some research, but we can make a list. What's the plan to build the skills? Do we need to find a coach? Or we could get a book, or take a course, or join a group, or go to a school. How are we going to measure the progress? Man, I geek out on this stuff. Man, I like charts and graphs and stopwatches and calendars. Man, I'll measure everything. And where's the space for this? We need to prepare a place. It can be sparse but comfortable. In fact, that's actually the best. And then when's the work going to get done? We need to schedule that. Then we're going to show up and do the work. That's it. It's not complicated. This is super easy. Well, except for the doing the work part, right? I have noticed that seems to be the part that leaves us feeling a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit down, a little bit empty. It can be frustrating. It might be a little fear in there, or leave us feeling a little bit defeated. Have you ever felt like that? Well, I have. And why is that? I think I know. And that's actually what this talk is about. So let's continue. Let me ask you this. How many people out of 100 do you believe will work on building skills every day? Well, I asked a couple coaches. I asked Anne. She's a physical trainer. She's really great at what she does. And she's a very kind lady. And she says 20 out of 100. It's like, all right. Steve, friend of mine, business partner, great music teacher. He said he's comfortable with stating 10 out of 100. In my mind, man, I believe it's like 2 or 3. You can pick a number that feels correct to you, but for this example, let's just use 10. So 10 people out of 100 will show up and work on skills every day. You realize that means 90%, which is a very big number, are set up to fail. They will be super frustrated, making little, if any, discernible progress, and will probably end their journey early. But get this, when you start working on a new project and you show up every day for as few as 10 minutes, you're in the top 10% because only one of the 10 is showing up to do the work. So then let's turn our focus to the plan. Like, the plan is like super important. And look at the shotgun approach to study that's provided by the internet these days. I mean, there's thousands of offers of every kind, promising skills and improvements made instantly or with little to no effort for every subject known to man. This is not a plan. When you see be a shredding guitarist next week, or lose weight without exercising or dieting, or learn 10,000 songs in 4 days, whatever it is, these programs, they might be fun and they might be novel, but they certainly do not lead to building skills, fluency, and mastery. Well, they actually generally leave you feeling completely underwhelmed. And why is that? Well, because they fail to build any of the skills that you actually need. The plan is crucial. It needs to be a proven plan that develops the needed skills. And then you must create a system for tracking and measuring progress. We're motivated when we see that we are moving towards our goals. And skills are only built by doing the work. It's pretty simple. But here's another question we probably need to consider. How many of our 10 practicers have an effective plan? Meaning, they're studying materials that are going to build the skills that they actually need. And beyond that, are they practicing in a manner that creates significant results? Man, it's heartbreaking for me to say this because all 10 of these people are actually working, but I believe it's only 10% are working in a manner that's going to get the results they want. Again, I believe it's 10%, 1 of the 10. Yep, this leaves only 1 of our original 100. They are working every day on effective materials. And here's the good news for them. They're going to quickly become proficient. Their pursuit is going to become enjoyable. They're going to look forward to practicing because practicing is enjoyable. And they'll practice more often and they'll practice for longer periods of time. Enjoyable is not quite the same as fluency, and it certainly isn't mastery, but I'll tell you what, it's way better than what's happening to the other 99%. They still play like beginners. They're still frustrated. They're seeing little evidence of practicing, and they're thinking of quitting. Meanwhile, our lone hero is covering more and more ground in every practice session. My top saxophone students can play all 12 major scales the length of their horn in less than a minute, meaning they can cover more material in an hour than many students can practice in a month. Combine this with the fact that they're going to show up and do it again tomorrow, that yields stunning results. See, a growth curve folds as you develop skills. You get better, faster and faster. And when you're in the room and you actually witness this, it truly looks unfair to others. But it's the just payment and true reward for consistent work. Work, study, and practicing become rewarding and enjoyable over time. It becomes a habit, it becomes a part of you. And then when effort becomes enjoyable, then fluency begins to forge. And when progress reveals even a glimpse of your goal being attainable, well, then there's this intrinsic motivation thing that kicks in. And I believe that's where monsters are born. And this is available to everyone. But sadly, it appears as though only 1 person out of 100 ever gets to experience it. And that's the one person that put a name on it, did the research, identified the skill set, made the plan, measures the progress, shows up every day and does the work. Yep, we're still talking about the work, but it feels different now because we feel like charging. Can you see it? I hope that you do, because you could be the one. That's my wish for you, and that's my hope for everyone. And that's why I'm always going to say, you can do it. It's easy to get good at music. Thanks for listening.